Welcome to Board Certified, expert interview episodes about medical licensing exams and healthcare careers. I'm Cassandra, marketing specialist with Achievable, and we offer affordable, adaptive online prep courses for the USMLE Step 1, MCAT, PTCE, MPTE, CSCS, and others. Each course contains everything you need to succeed, including comprehensive study guides, video lessons, thousands of practice questions powered by our memory-enhancing algorithm, and full-length practice exams. You can try any course for free at achievable.me, and if you like it, use the code podcast to save 10%. Now, let's get started. So today we have Markus Fürst with us, and Markus, I would love if you could introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Cassandra. My name is Markus Fürst. I'm from Sweden, but lived here in the US now for 9 years. I've been a strength and conditioning coach for 5 years, and I'm the founder of Performance Coaching, which is a platform to monitor your athlete's progression from a strength and conditioning perspective, and also the author of the CSCS course on Achievable.
Great. So today we're going to be talking about how to use the CSCS certification to break into careers. So to start it off, we'll just start at the beginning. You earn your certification, and now what are the first practical steps for someone as they embark on their career?
The first step is pretty simple, is apply for internships. I think that's the biggest step because that gives you experience under your belt, and having the CSCS certification gives you an advantage against most other people that applies for an internship, because most interns that we have at the University of Florida usually don't have their CSCS certification. So just having that, then it puts you at the top of the list, and obviously you need to do good in your interview and that stuff, but just having that certification and then applying for an internship gives you an advantage against other people, and then gives you the experience that you need.
Let's just maybe walk through an example scenario of what that might look like for someone. How long would a typical internship be, and how does that provide a stepping stone into the next step, and what would that next step look like?
Yes, so first of all, internship within strength and conditioning, it might mean that you have to relocate. Obviously, if there's something close by, then go for that, but just don't be afraid to relocate. So move obviously to something that suits what you want to do, and then usually they're on average, I would say, a semester long, so a summer semester or a fall semester or a spring semester, so 6-ish months or 4 months around there. But obviously the longer you stay, the more experience you get, because this CSS exam is great, you need that knowledge, but having the experience is something that you can't get from just reading a textbook or taking a course. So getting the experience from an internship is crucial.
I imagine that you probably do a lot of networking at that time too.
Yeah.
Try and meet people and connect with people who are doing what you want to be doing, and a lot of times that can lead to other opportunities, right?
Yes, that's correct. So usually, yes, this is a very broad example, but usually when you start an internship, depending on the coach that you're working under, you'll probably be just shadowing at first, so more like standing on the side and observing, and then as they get more comfortable with you, you'll get more hands-on experience working with athletes, maybe working one-on-one with some athletes, and then networking becomes crucial in this aspect of your career, because a lot of jobs are giving to people that the hiring committee knows, or if someone recommended them or whatever it is. So just having a good network within this field is very crucial and can help you a lot. So just showing them your best side, and so they can give recommendations for you, is crucial.
Yeah. As far as different career paths you could go down, right? You could get into collegiate sports, you could get into professional. There's even like tactical and like military paths that you can take. Can you go through some of those paths and maybe what they look like?
Yeah, so let's start with high school. High school, usually you would have a lot of teams. Most high schools, they have one strength coach, and then all sports fall under that strength coach. So they will take care of all the teams, do all their training in the weight room, and then obviously they would work with the population that is a little bit younger, and then collegiate, a little bit older, depending on if there's like a bigger D1 school or smaller like D2 school. So the bigger the school, the more strength coaches they have on staff. So for instance, I have 4 teams that I work with, and I have the most team out of any strength coach at University of Florida. There's some strength coaches that only have 1 team that I work with. So like the bigger the school, the less sports a strength coach is assigned, so to say. And then like D2 school is usually similar to high school. There's usually 1 or 2 strength conditioning coaches for the whole school. And then from military or tactical, it's maybe you work with a certain division within the military, and then you're responsible of all their workouts. And then from a pro perspective, then you usually work with 1 team. So say that you work with baseball, so then you're responsible for all the baseball athletes obviously on the team. And then usually in pro it works a little bit different because there's a lot of money, so some of them might have their own strength and conditioning coaches on the side, but they usually have a mandatory amount of hours that they need to spend with you. And sometimes you need to work together with their own strength and conditioning coaches that each of the pro athletes have. But that's the biggest difference, I would say. Like from a pro level, you're more of their colleague. Like you're a colleague to the athletes because they earn so much money. While the lower you go, like you're more of their superior, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a really interesting perspective, but it does make sense. We touched on how to get your foot in the door with like different sports teams or training facilities, and how the CSCS certification, you can leverage that to get into sports performance, athletic performance, things like that. What are the other options that aren't necessarily like sports related? Like what other pathways could you do other than maybe like military? What do those kinds of journeys look like?
Yes, you could still get into personal training, or you could be just a nutritionist that doesn't necessarily work with athletes. And just having this certification gives you a huge advantage against other like applicants. Like for instance, we hired on a nutritionist recently, and they had the CSCS certification, and that like for us it just gave us, okay, this person does not only have knowledge about nutrition, but they also understand the training aspects of it. So that's just, the more certifications and the more knowledge you have, the more credibility you get. So anything that is related to performance and health, I would say, any fields within that, it's very advantageous to have the CSCS certification.
Yeah, that makes sense. Going back to the technology aspect of things and how that has developed in the field, especially with sports, I think that is becoming a huge thing. You had mentioned about how expensive a lot of these tools are, and obviously these professional, even college teams, they have those resources to utilize those things. Can you just talk about some of the advantages to that? Not only how can it improve performance, do you say that it's also like almost imperative to have those tools, because if not, you're kind of left in the dust a little bit?
Yes and no. It's definitely an advantage to have those tools, but I still think you can be very successful and progress your athletes a lot by not having them. It's just, it makes things easier, is the biggest thing. It's like another feedback tool. So it gives you feedback in the sense of okay, what we're doing is working or it's not working, and we need to change things. So it just makes data collection much easier, which is obviously a huge advantage, but at the end of the day, like, you don't necessarily need it to be successful in your field. And for obviously there's a lot of budget dependent how much money you have, but just because whoever you work for don't have the money to buy these expensive technology pieces, don't be discouraged. I think you can be very successful without it, and you can have a lot of success with your athletes regardless of these tools. It's just, at the end of the day, it just makes things a little bit easier. So if you don't have it, you might have to work a little bit harder or a little bit more just to collect all the data, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Is there anything that you think we missed that you want to make sure we talk about?
The internship, back to that, I just think it's, if this is the career path you want to go down to, like, you should apply for an internship even though you haven't even got the certification yet. Because like I mentioned earlier, a lot of the interns that we have, they don't have the certification, and they're just trying to figure out if this is what they want to do in their career. So just getting that experience gives you a lot, like, not only on your resume, but also gives you as an individual the idea if this is something that you want to do. And then to get your foot in the door for an internship, just reach out to people as many as you can in areas and fields that you want to potentially work in or get more experience in, or whatever you think is interesting. And then if you had a possibility, just show up, just be there, talk to them, say, I would love to do an internship here, I would love to help out, whatever it is. I think that says a lot about an individual, because then they're like, it shows that they're eager, they want to be there, even though they haven't even got necessarily a position yet, but just, yeah, showing face and then reaching out. And then if you get an internship, just always do more than what's expected of you, because that's going to take you a very long way.
Yeah, that's great advice. Thank you so much. This has been Board Certified, hosted by Cassandra from Achievable with Markus Fürst. And Achievable has great online courses for the USMLE Step 1, MCAT, PTCE, MPTE, CSCS, and others. You can try them out for free at achievable.me.